Hi, you're welcome to Soul Precious Lifestyle Hub. My name is Chika Samuels and I'm your host today. I'm the author of a new best-selling book, Getting Pregnant with PEs, Easy and Sustainable Lifestyle Choices for Improved Fertility. It's already sold out. The demand right now is more than the supply. And if you pre-ordered, beautiful, we're already making plans to start dispatching to people that ordered outside Nigeria. And of course, we have pickup locations outside Nigeria. So if you did not pre-order, the price has gone back to the original price. So the details for you to order your copy is on your screen. You need to get your copy. Okay, if we're just meeting for the first time, where have you been? Happy New Year. Okay, if you've been following us or you have not been, we've been on a very exciting and insightful series called the Fertility Culprit series. It was a series that I needed to start with because it was coming from a lot of the questions that were coming from intending parents, and I thought this would break the ice and answer a lot of questions and break a lot of myths, because a lot of people have a lot of assumptions how pregnancy should happen, and they are unaware of how things around them affect their productivity and their fertility potential. So we've been on the fertility series and this is number 7. So if you missed the previous video, you need to. It is amazingly important. You need to, even if you're done procreating, you need to know what these things around you and are doing to your fertility potential, because we're going to talk more about environmental toxins, which brings me to what we're discussing today. So we have talked about fertility culprit number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are wrapping up today. We're wrapping up the series today with the culprit number 7. We are gelling the culprit number 7, and this culprit is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's shockingly everywhere, and it's amazing how it's just in our face, in our environment. Okay, we're talking about environmental toxins. This is a culprit number 7, and you see, an average urban adult has over 50,000 chemicals in our bodies than our great-grandparents had, which our great-grandparents did not have actually. And many of these chemicals have been linked to skyrocketing incidence records of child illnesses. We're talking about juvenile diabetes, leukemia in children, autism. We're talking about learning disabilities in children, things that were not there before, and we have scientific literatures that are linking them to these environmental toxins. And this is the trends are there in urbanized nations, and you can say, okay, we're just developing nation, maybe where you are, but you see our borders are open and most urban adults import a lot. We prefer, like Nigeria, they'll say, what Oyibo did. We prefer, what comes in, what is not done here. We believe the quality is better. And so this trend, we're seeing them in urbanized nations and the manufacturing companies in these nations. So, in our new book, Getting Pregnant with Ease, we really dealt with what we tagged primary food. I defined primary food because when you mention food, the average person will be like, okay, what is on my plate? But your primary food, especially for an intending parent, is beyond what you eat. It's beyond what is on your plate. We're talking about what your skin absorbs. We're talking about what you consume with your mouth. We're talking about what you inhale through your nose. We're talking about the energy around you, your thought processes, the energies that these things. The book is loaded. It's loaded. I'm telling you. And when this critical, because you see, 1 or 2 of the critical factors may not directly be the root causes of the infertility, but when all of them are throwing shades at you and we identify 6 of them, then you need to give them attention. And we have had trends of records where we're dealing in our fertility intervention centers with intending parents, and when at least 1 or 2 of this fertility culprits or critical factors are addressed, you just see, because the menstrual cycle, ovulation, the phases of the menstrual cycle are only signs of the hormonal imbalances. They're showing what is going on in the body. I often define the menstrual cycle as God's cleaning measure for the body. So the phases of the menstrual cycle are showing you signs when this, you menstruate longer than you should, you don't ovulate, you don't even know when you ovulate. When you do, the phases are shorter than they should. These are all signs of what's going on in your body. So in our book, Getting Pregnant with Ease, we define these primary foods and how they have effect on your fertility potential. So back to environmental toxins. What are we dealing with here? We're dealing with pesticides. What I mean is the active ingredients in your pest sprays, okay, your mosquito sprays, your pest spray, your cockroach spray, sprays, the things, the measures, the cans, the sprays that you use at home, the chemicals you use at home or at your office to fumigate, to prevent pests. We're talking about herbicides. So we're talking about, chemicals that our farmers use in vegetation to prevent pests or the weed in the farm, because you're not the one farming what you eat. You go to the market or you go to the mall shops and you buy and you come and you cook. So you are not there when they were doing this preventive de-weeding and all this, even in agriculture, livestock, they feed the livestock with lots of hormones routinely than when they should actually be fed with them, and you're not there. So you go to the shops and the stores and you buy this stuff and you bring them home and you eat. So we're dealing with pesticides, herbicides, the aerosols, the things. I'm talking about how it affects your skin also, the things that you inhale, you absorb, because your skin is a respiratory organ, really. It's because it's breathing. It could clot, it could be, it sweats, it eliminates toxins, and it inhales also. So these things are going into the blood. So they have effect on your fertility potential. So let's talk about the pest sprays now. We have scientific literature that has proven that previously we used to think, okay, the placenta is this, protective cover for the fetus and whatever, is going on in the mother's body. The placenta is, covering the fetus, and that's not true. We have evidence-based scientific literature that has proven that the placenta is not toxin-proof. What this means is that these cleaning chemicals and these pesticides, these herbicides that are are inhaling through your nose, or the things you apply through your skin, they are having access to the fetus. Also, when you give birth, you're going to nurture. So it's recommended in the first few months postpartum, you should breastfeed. So the breast milk also is feeding the baby what the mother has, stored in her body. So let's look at one of the very popular one. The atrazine is the largest, selling product for largest chemical company in the world right now. And you could say, how is this my business? But you import most of the cleaning chemicals and pest control chemicals that we have in the shops and in the malls and in the market. They are imported. These are chemicals that are banned in the European Union, yet, because the borders are porous, so they get into the shops and they get to you because that's what you go and buy. Very few people really make this in their home. So most people, so you ask, okay, how do I safeguard, against this? We're going to be talking about in subsequent video, we're going to be introducing the hashtag So Precious 7-Day Fertility Day. And I'm so excited. We're going to have a Facebook video, Facebook Live introduction, a launch to this Fertility Day. Is 7 power-packed days to own your results and change your health condition or your fertility results. It's going to be really, really exciting. I'm so excited about it. We'll talk more about that. And in one of the days of the So Precious 7-Day Fertility Day, we're going to be zeroing on environmental toxins. So we're going to really, really elaborate on this because it has a lot of impact on the fertility potential of intending parents. So it's something that we really need to give attention to. So how do you vanguard, over this? How do you prevent and vanguard against these toxins? One, let's look at your vegetables and your fruits, your tubers like your ginger, your turmeric, your vegetables, your fruits, your green vegetables that you buy from your local market. Remember, we talked about not just pests, we talked about herbicides, and these are the chemicals that the farmers use for agriculture. So you must wash your vegetables and your fruits generously with lots of water. Don't be in a hurry. In fact, when I see a lot of people, when they buy this vegetable, they ask for them to be chopped, so that, of course, these are the urban adults who want everything fast. So when you come home, when you're cooking, you just wash it, sieve it, and you put it. First, what that does is the vegetables are not going to be, you're chopping in the herbicides inside. So when you wash, you're going to wash them, they are going to end up in your pot. So I always advise to buy them the way they are, dirty and all that, then in a big bowl with generous water, or in a running tap, wash them generously with water. If you're washing in a bowl, I would advise that you can put a cup, depending on the quantity of the vegetable, a cup or two of mothered apple cider vinegar. What this does is that it helps to, neutralize the herbicides and ensure that the water also ensure that this dirt and all that are taken out before you chop your vegetables and you use. And also for your fruits also, you do them before you store them or put them in your refrigerator. Then also we have talked extensively, you can go back on our videos where we talked extensively about plastics. So I'm not going to dwell on that. Less plastics, please. And also if you must fumigate with these pesticides, I'll advise that you do them when you're traveling or when you're staying away from home, and plan to air the environment before you return, okay, so that you don't have this thing in your environment. And also seek to know, we have a lot of this information, how you can even make your own. I'll talk more about that. You need to know what the fumigator team and all that is using for your environment, and you can even make yours. Okay, these things are not rocket science. Also, you air afterwards. Then the aerosols, before I go to the aerosols, I was talking with someone that works with a fumigator company, and she's been trying for a child. I'm like, I can bet it. We have not even run the test, but I can bet that this contact with pesticide, because of the kind of job that you do, has a good percentage of impact on your fertility, potential. And I gave her, this is where PPE adherence, that's the personal protective equipment adherence, comes in. And I told her the clothing that you use for work must not come into the house with you. You have to have a way to separate those. Don't bring them into your environment, where you cook and where you sleep and all that. So you have to be very strict with these things, because they stick on the clothing and you bring them home and all that. And when we managed that, she actually started ovulating. And over the course of 2 or 3 months, her menstrual cycle was predictive because of just addressing. It's amazing how these things impact our fertility. I always, like Nigerians will say, what you're looking for in Sokoto is in your Shokoto. A lot of times people are thinking, oh, which drug do I use for ovulation? Which this do I use? And we tell them, do the recommendations. We're not quick to, we abuse drugs a lot in this country. We abuse drugs. That's one thing we're looking for. What to, of course, there are fertility groups where they are self-prescribing drugs to themselves. I am so against it. Let's go back the way it used to be. Organic. Let's go back to the way it used to be. Most of these solutions are simple. They're staring in your face. It's just to take time and find out what is within your control that you can do. A lot of these things are within our control. And when you identify them and address them, okay, for example, if you're watching, this is our 7th video on fertility culprits. If you're trying for a child, have you addressed the use of these things that we're talking about? Have you gotten the right type of lubricant to use if you use it? Have you addressed the use of plastics, or are you still managing it? Okay, have you addressed these things? Are you still taking a little bit of alcohol and all that? Have you addressed, are you still eating acid forming foods, like against what we have prescribed? Most of these things are things that you have control over, and when you address them, you'll be shocked at how easily everything balances up. Because for pregnancy to come to full term, it needs hormones are at work. So if things are, you're even getting signs in your body, like sweaty palms, like long migraine headaches, like short phases of menstrual cycle, these are signs of telling you things that are happening in your body. So if you're still eating junk, you're still eating trans fat, you're still using plastics, all the things we talked about in previous video, then you should ask yourself, are you actively playing a role? Because a lot of times it's not about information. A lot of people know what to do. The difference between, knowing what to do, getting the results, is applying the knowledge. So have you applied the things that we talked about in previous videos? If you have not, click rewind and refresh and start putting actions. Let's one day take you one step forward and one step closer to having your baby in your arms. So, someone was also talking about, I was discussing with someone, I was saying, all this body sprays, non-stick, non-stain, non-this, non-that. What do you think? The skin is supposed to sweat. So if it's holding back the skin, because you see, probably because of my experience in manufacturing for over a decade, I am aware of these things. I was discussing with a client, today concerning one of our products that we're going to introduce to you for we call it the fertility elixir. One of the active ingredients there is soya. for if it's the woman that is talking that is expecting to have a child, your product, whatever you consume, has to be soya free. So she brought a product and I'm like, okay, I have this, can't I use this? And when we check the active ingredients, we found soya. So these things are the things you need to give attention to. Okay, so back to the aerosol we're talking about. So if they are not stick, not their skin is supposed to sweat and perspire. So if they are holding bent back, you need to find out what they are using and be sure they are safe to use. Okay, so because I always say that your body is the first home of your baby, and you as the intending mom or the intending father have the responsibility to keep your body clean and healthy, the first home for your baby. Your baby, that's the first gift you're going to give your baby. So you need to play your role to ensure that your body is in the best and the best shape for conception. Because in our intervention session, we're not just aiming at helping you get pregnant, we're looking at having a healthy baby and a healthy postpartum stage. So that is the focus. So we're doing all this because whatever, I often say that the consumption of the mother is the consumption of the baby. Your tests, your eating habits, what you're consuming, it shows up in the baby. No, let nobody kid you. The placenta is not toxin proof, proof. So you need to give attention to this thing. So with this, we're wrapping up the fertility culprit series, and something exciting is happening from next week. Stay tuned. If you love this video and you learned something from previous videos that you did not know before, or this video is inspiring you to start acting and taking steps towards having a healthy body, love and share it. Love this video, give it a thumbs up and share it to your tribe. Keep sharing until it gets to someone that needs it. Till we meet again, keep living healthy and keep living your best life yet. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.